Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Yes, the chicken, the suddenly chicken was much more verbal than Wolfie was at trying to wake us up here, but we're going to leave you down there because once again, I don't want that to somehow interfere with a potential spawn point or anything. But here we are, back in Far Lands or Bust. This is episode 323. I just had to look at my notes to make sure. 323, the sun is rising, the chicken is clucking, the inventory is getting cleaned, and we are continuing on to the west as we do. This is Wednesday, February 5th, 2014. And we're still raising money for Child's Play charity over at farlandsorbust.com. Currently sitting at $169,538 being raised this season. This is season 4, technically, of Far Lands or Bust. And, we raised about, exactly $20 since the last episode. So, still raising money, still leading up towards the planned Far Lands or Bust Marathon, which is kind of the season finale, which should be on March 1st of this year, which is a Saturday. I will have, as the weeks and days approach, more and more details about that. And at the end of that is when I finally press F3 for the first time in over a year and a half even. And then pressing F3 gives me the coordinates. It's a little, for those of you who don't know, who might not play Minecraft, I don't know. It's like a little debug screen, and part of the kind of heads-up display that it displays is the coordinates on the world, and that will show us how far we have walked. I don't look at that. I don't look at that away from the camera or at any time in between different flobathons. So it will be news to me as it will be to you, and it will need to be an update to the last time we were at 644,492. So exciting times ahead in Far Lands or Bust, and I know I said I wouldn't mention it again in the last episode about we had the New Yorker article and then a bunch of blogs and news places and stuff picked up on Far Lands or Bust. As this crazy wacky guy who's been walking for the past 3 years in one direction in Minecraft. Sometimes the message was missed that we're doing it for charity and the version that we're playing in and blah, blah, blah. But I just want to mention one more thing because it's a little bit exciting for me that, and I knew that this would possibly happen, as the Kotaku and different, game websites, major websites and blogs pick up on things. It tends to, as things go viral, get picked up by other avenues, and it got picked up, and yesterday was posted on boingboing.net, which I must say it's very exciting for me because I've been following and subscribed to Boing for at least a decade as the website. I remember checking out Boing back in college, and I graduated college in 2004. So, Boing was a big part of, I suppose, the internet world that I kind of grew up in and is really the source of me finding a whole bunch of other blogs and internet communities like your Life Hacker, your Put This On I first heard about through Boing, which is the kind of style blog that I follow that then led to that whole other section of my life. Careful, Wolfie, about, I've talked about this many times before in the past, dressing well and quality and blah, 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 blah. Like I said, Life Hacker and technology and stuff, and then I think probably through Life Hacker is where I ended up learning about, RSS feeds and Google Reader and subscribing to a whole bunch of different blogs. So, Boing is kind of a nice... It is the directory of wonderful things, and it's kind of a trunk in the tree that I have explored this vast interwebs, I suppose you could say. And I remember way back in the day... they might still have, but they used to have more prominently when they were kind of a much more simpler website, a suggest a link kind of thing, or suggest a story. And I remember suggesting there was a very neat video on a police dash cam of a fireball, space debris or something, coming into the skies, and there was a link, so I submitted. I'm like, this is pretty cool, I'll submit it. This seems like the kind of thing Boing Boing would post, and they posted it. And I got very excited, because in the subtext they said, hat tip to Kurt for submitting this link. And I'm like, that's me, I'm famous now, because I got posted on Boing Boing. So that was my previous Boing Boing experience. And of course now to have this very minor little blurb. It was one of their, not one of their main features, just a little blah blah blah. Here's a link to the New Yorker article sort of thing. It was very exciting for me. So I just felt like mentioning that, a little bit giddy about that sort of thing. And it was actually also a little bit of side trivia there. It's kind of Boing Boing's, how am I doing on wood? I should probably chop down this tree. Boing Boing, kind of introduced me even to Let's Plays in a roundabout kind of way. I on Twitter, I follow the editors and writers for Boing Boing on Twitter, one of which is Rob Bashiza, who is kind of their games and technology, and he even has kind of a side blog about gaming and indie games. Really is kind of his forte. But on Twitter, just as you share links on Twitter just randomly, he posted a link to a video by a YouTuber named Kaz, K-A-Z-Z, who was playing Facade, which is that kind of text-based relationship fixer kind of game that I'm sure you've seen a lot of people play on YouTube. But he did a funny thing where he played it as Genghis Khan. He kind of role-played, and linked to that. And that was literally, I distinctly remember my first experience with somebody on YouTube commentating over video game playing, your standard Let's Play formula. And from there, I kind of became aware that Let's Playing is kind of a thing. Oh, this is funny. This is kind of an interesting thing. And then, this was even well before the scene analyses and, the kind of what you could call the explosion of Let's Plays and things. Which, so I don't know. Perhaps, if I was more of an aspiring or entrepreneurial, inventive person, I probably should have taken that idea and spark and said, maybe I should try doing this, back in 2008, 2009, or whenever I saw that video. But I did not, but, things still worked out, apparently. So kind of, like I said, very, just kind of like, I'm Farlands Busk, I posted on Boing Boing, kind of a cool thing. So, hello, people, I suppose. It wasn't a big article, so I don't know that many people found me via Boing Boing, but hello, Boingers and Boingettes and etc. I don't know. But yeah, kind of a cool thing. So I just wanted to mention that. Oh wow, the sun's already going down? What the heck? It feels like the days are getting shorter. Is it winter time here in Minecraft? No. There are no seasons, since this planet we are walking on is not a globe. It is a flat sheet of which we are trying to attempt to reach, not technically the end of it. I suppose another little side note of Minecraft physics. The world continues to generate into the far lands. The far lands isn't even halfway of the world, technically. The hard limit of this version of Minecraft, I believe, is still 30 million blocks, after which it will render false chunks, but you will fall through them and enter into the void, which is the same thing that happens in current versions of the game. Even though there are no far lands, once you reach that 30 million block limit, you can see false chunks being rendered ahead of you, but they are indeed false, and that is the technical limit, playable limit of the game, although this jitter and the lag and stuff becomes a problem much sooner than that, so not necessarily to the end of the world, but simply to the far lands. Hence the title of the program, Far lands or bust. So, let's continue walking in the morning. And a boing boingness. Right, Wolfie? Nope, he's continuing on. He's like, let's get going. This is, woof, yeah, that's right. Kind of a short little jog across the water. We don't need to use a boat here. But yeah, I think in the last couple episodes I answered a question about like favorite TV shows or something, didn't I? Sounds familiar. But I mentioned that Top Gear had returned, and I did acquire that newest episode of Top Gear, which I guess is season 21 of Top Gear, the first episode, and watched it, and I don't know. I feel like I wasn't a big fan. They didn't have a variety of things. I guess spoiler alert. No, it doesn't need a spoiler to Top Gear, but they only did the one feature about. It was the set of challenges that they normally do about. This one was about the old hatchbacks, 80s from the late 80s versus new hatchbacks, hot hatches, I guess you could call them, and that was like the extent of the feature that they had on the program. They had the star and the reasonably priced car and the news segment, but otherwise they didn't have a feature of like a new supercar or anything. They didn't have the Stig set a lap time around the track, so I feel like a little bit was missed there, and even the feature about the hatchbacks was, and I know it's scripted obviously in the past, but it was a little bit overly scripted, and it became a little bit tiresome by the third segment of that segment. So it seems like they did the little preview of the upcoming season, so hopefully future episodes in this season are a little bit more of your standard Top Gear fare, where they will have maybe a challenge or something like that, but they'll intersect it with testing of a new car. Ooh. And I'm not really one. A lot of people might complain that Top Gear doesn't look at consumer vehicles enough, or they just look at the $500,000 supercars, which is fine. That's fine for me. It's entertaining. It's interesting to see that stuff. I'm not one of those people who says they should have more consumer-oriented reviews and things. But I hope that this episode isn't the formula that they're going towards future episodes. So, regardless, that was, I guess, my roundabout review of the first episode of the new Top Gear series, or whatever they call it. But indeed, I'm finding things to talk about. But before I get too ahead of myself, we do have some questions. I was able to get some questions from donors. If you donate to Child's Play charity through farlandsorbust.com, there is a little comment field that you can include your comment and a question, and I will see that. Otherwise, I don't see anything else about your donation, any other details or email or username or anything. All the donations go directly to Child's Play. Yeah, don't push me down there, guy. They go directly to Child's Play charity. I never handle or see or anything, any of the funds or anything. In fact, it's Child's Play charity's plugin that you're clicking on the website. We used to use a third-party plugin before they included that. It was called Chip In. So perhaps, I know a lot of people I'm seeing on Twitter are liking a lot of my older episodes. Perhaps they've first found Far Lands or Bust and they're going back and watching old episodes where I'm saying, use Chip In, or do the Chip In, click the Chip In button or something on the old episodes. That no longer exists. It's now the official Child's Play charity widget, so it's all handled on their end, and I just get to see the amount and comments if you leave them. So also leave your username with a question if you would like me to acknowledge who asked the question. But I can do that right now in a question from Zach. Zach asked, would you ever consider doing a special episode where you walk during the night instead of the day? Probably not. It's a pretty safe, speaking of show formulas, formula here that we have going where we can measure out each episode by walking for 3 Minecraft days and sleeping at night. Not only does that ensure that we have kind of a save point, a checkpoint, I guess you could call it, so that if we do have a little bit of trouble, the most we'll lose is a Minecraft day's worth of progress. Also, in this version of the game, Beta 173, there's no brightness slider. In the current versions, there's a brightness slider, where in YouTube, we, as YouTubers, we like to pump up the brightness, because YouTube and the way it encodes, and you'll notice this with a lot of older Let's Plays, not just my own, but also, if you look back on Ethos or, BWO's or anybody's Minecraft Let's Plays, careful Wolfie, you'll notice that when caving and at night, the footage on YouTube is very dark. YouTube over darkens a lot of that footage from Minecraft, so I know that was a problem early on, and I and other people would combat that by doing some post-processing brightening. Even the first UHC, Ultra Hardcore series, Seeds, the first UHC, we had that issue, and, brightness hadn't been included in the game yet, so a lot of times where people were caving without torches or something, people would put like a brightness filter. Oh, even X's Adventures in Minecraft, which is kind of the source of a lot of the first Minecraft Let's Plays. I remember he put in the little Half-Life. He put like a spotlight, and he used the little Half-Light sound effect when you turn on the flashlight to brighten up his caving footage because it was so dark in the original Minecraft. So that, technically speaking, that's why it's not very. It wouldn't behoove me to be walking through the night, but also for safety's sake, also Wolfie's sake. There are a few occasions where I can't remember what episode it was, but I sat Wolfie down to feed him and continued walking. I forgot to stand him up again, so I left him sitting down, and I didn't realize it until I was trying to make the last hidey hole of that episode, so I had to walk back, and things got quite dangerous. Zombies and whatnot were spawning when I was trying to walk back to locate where I had accidentally left Wolfie. So, I mean, there have been times where it gets dark and it's kind of scary and a little bit risky. But otherwise, I'm not, that doesn't seem like, I don't see what the benefit or the pull of that would be other than doing something different. But, we're only on episode 323. There are many more episodes to go, so I guess I can't say never in terms of stuff like that. But I do appreciate the donation and the question. From J5276 asked, which websites do you find to be the most distracting and take up most of your free time? I mentioned blogs and Boing and Google Reader. Since that got shut down, I'm using a service called Feedly, which is not as good as Google Reader, as much as I enjoyed Google Reader, but a good substitute. So I subscribe to a lot of blogs and posts and things like that, and I've cut down recently because I've noticed a lot of them are redundant and they tend to post the same things. But yeah, I still that's kind of my morning paper is I have my Feedly feed, and I just next, click through the articles and read the headlines, and if something catches my eye, I'll click on the headline to open it up on the full website or whatever. So yeah, definitely the blogs and Feedly and stuff. YouTube, obviously. Not only is it where I post and work with my own videos, but I watch a lot of videos. Again, that's something I've tried to cut down on recently, which is unfortunate in the fact that I can't keep up with a lot of the people who I'm friends with, or I work with on the Mindcrack server or stuff like that. So I am less aware as to the goings-ons of other people who I am friends with on the YouTubes. But it's still a time sink. Not even speaking about the time that I'm working and looking at analytics and rearranging home pages and things like that. I suppose your Twitters and your, I try to avoid. I can get stuck in the Imager, cycle of doom where you just look at all the funny Imager posts and things like that. But I've gotten much better at not getting sunk. Time sink, is that the term? Sunk into the certain internet websites. I try to be a little bit more productive once I'm working and I'm on the computer and stuff like that. So, indeed. Thank you very much for that question. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. Woof. And woofness. Indeed. You did take a little bit of damage back there, so let's feed you and not forget to make sure you stand up so you will continue following us. Another question from a donor. Bradley asked, the Sochi, is that how you say it? Sochi 2014 Winter Olympics are coming. Do you follow the Olympics at all? And if you could compete in a Winter Olympic sport, what would it be and why? I don't really follow the Olympics. Being not... Whoa, gosh! Good grief. Ha! Look at in the daytime what we have to deal with. Why would I walk at night? That scared the bejeebus out of me. Whoa. You, sir, are... Yeah, now you forgot about me. How dare you? Clever girl. That was... Yikes. Well hidden. Oh, I'm assuming probably came out of that little... Nah, how would he get up? Probably just that big tree he was casting enough of a shadow where he spawned. Oh, I noticed you. Well played, sir, but you were outwitted in the end. Yikes. Anyway, what was I talking about? The Olympics. Yeah, not much into the sports to begin with. So the Olympics are not really on my radar. I don't know. And maybe I was thinking about this, but I've noticed, in the past, or recently actually, that people, at least in my circles, in my generation, and perhaps this is simply just my own bias because this is my opinion and these are the people I surround myself with, but we're not really that interested in things like the Olympics, or even, more superficially, what we would consider superficial things like award shows, the Academy Awards, or, the Grammys, looking at these people who we might, in certain arenas, respect, actors and things like that, but, it's basically these very wealthy people congratulating themselves on being the most successful at their fields. It seems a little bit, especially in these times of kind of not so great economic status, looking at these people congratulating themselves. And I know the Olympics, not exactly the same, because a lot of these athletes, I'm not saying they're rich at all. Some of them are what you could consider superstar athletes who have the big advertising deals, and they make a lot of money through that. But the vast majority of these athletes are by no means getting wealthy. And even if they win gold, they're by no means is that a careful Wolfie, is that a reason to believe that they suddenly are... Careful, Wolfie, I said, they don't get... get suddenly wealthy or successful or can, who knows? Oh, you're fully filled. Your tank is full. Your tank, the bone tank, pork chop tank. So, but still, it's kind of, taken on to the fact, okay, so maybe these athletes aren't reaping the benefits of being in the Olympics, then who is? And it's especially evident in these Olympics. I've been looking at a lot of stories about, the Russian government might not be the most, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? The opposite of corrupt, whatever that word is. There's so much corruption in the world, I don't even know what word would describe the opposite of that. I'm not saying my government is any better, but, you know, not only are they don't seem... Sand Cascade. They don't seem completely prepared. You know, nor do they seem to be completely hospitable to all groups of people. Obviously, there's that story as well. It just doesn't appeal to me for many reasons. I used to, you know, when I was littler. Oh, that's a zombie spawner. I see it, but should I investigate it? The whole thing could collapse atop me. Hey guy, how you doing? Oh, I need an actual proper staircase here. Hi. Oh, I have a bow and arrow. Why don't I not just use this? Receive death! Again, I guess, since you are a zombie after all. You are already undead. Alright. Now these guys have had a while to spawn. Yep, there's another one over here. Let's... Dang, the block selection is way off. I can't place a block. Whoa, whoa, he's gonna touch me. This sword is going to meet an early demise if I don't act quicker. Okay, alright, this is getting dangerous. Go away. I just wish to look at your wares. Stupid feathered zombies. Whoa, I almost fell in there. Alright, well, we're safe from that angle. Hi. How are you? Alright. Don't spawn. What do we got? Some iron, redstone. We can replace that wheat we gave to that chicken, and a saddle. Woof, indeed. Let's go. Not all that much interesting, but we had to check it out because we saw it. Boop. And continuing on. What was I talking about? The Olympics. Yeah, when I was younger, there was that Winter Olympics. The whole... I can't remember what year it was, but the whole Nancy Kerrigan debacle, and I forgot even the name of the other... ice skater who had a hit put out on Nancy Kerrigan. That whole situation. I don't know why. I think it's because I have two sisters and they were into the whole ice skating, figure skating thing, so I kind of got pulled into that as, you know, only had one TV, so that's what was on, so I kind of had to watch that, but I'd say that was probably the only year where I paid attention to the Olympics, but I don't know, how old was I? 10, 11, 12, something like that. But since then, not so much at all. And I know Chicago was trying to bid for the 2020 Summer Olympics or something like that. And that was kind of a big news item, and naturally a lot of people are against bringing the Olympics to a city because while the city officials and whatnot say, oh, it'll be good for the city's economy and jobs and blah, 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 blah. In the end, it tends not to be. You end up spending a lot of the public's money on all this infrastructure and stuff that just comes and goes for 1 year, and then you have these empty monuments and facilities that end up being underused and just become an eyesore and a strain on the economy. It's kind of... that's something I forgot to mention. I mentioned the Superb Owl last time. You know, I always wonder why certain sports like that, they don't hold the championship in one of the cities of the teams that are competing. You know, you see things like baseball and hockey and basketball. They have multi-game championships, but they're able to hold those in the cities competing, so the actual fans can go. It's I've always found that a bit strange. That the Super Bowl, what other sport does that? Other sports do that, are held in cities where the teams competing don't even reside in. So I always found that to be a bit odd in terms of that. But yeah, whoa, that was what was I talking about where I got on that tangent? Anyway, yeah, the Chicago didn't get the Olympics. I think Brazil or somebody did, which is another story that was up. Wasn't there a big kind of thing in Brazil about having the World Cup this year? They're like, there's a lot of poverty and, you know, we're not doing too hot here. Why are you so excited about bringing the World Cup here? You know, so blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of economic strife and political hemming and hawing about bringing major sporting events like the Olympics to a certain city, and the same goes for the current one, Sochi, and it's happened in the past too. It's certainly not unique to the Russian putting on the Olympics or anything like that. Do I have any Russian viewers? They allow you to browse the internet over there, do they? That's China and North Korea, where it's kind of not so. Woo! Look at this place. Nice. Very nice, Minecraft. We are, however, on the precipice here. Careful, Wolfie. I want to find a nice place to build a hidey hole, so I remember to kind of check this place out. I'm thinking... Whoa! I'm thinking down here. Speaking of not staying awake too late. Oh, that's a... Dang it. Alright, quickly now. Ha! How about... Yeah, here's a nice little wall we can go into. Wolfie! Hello, Wolfie. Where you at? Come on and spawn over here. Yeah, there he is. Boop. Let's get you hovering. No. Oh, God. All right. Torches, torches, torches. Let's just light this immediate area up to save us. Save us! I will dig out a little area. And then the doorway to the hidey hole. Very nice. Sorry, what was the second part of that question? Was what Olympic sport would I compete in? I don't know. Probably like the bobsled, because it's most like driving a car very fast. Although actually there's probably not too much similar there, but ooh, spooky noises. So yeah, bobsled. Bobsled would probably be my sport of choice. I've never been skiing or anything like that. Or I did ice skate, just like, you know, there was an ice skating rink, and I think in school you go with some friends or whatever as an activity. I was okay with ice skating, but hockey or anything like that was never a sport that I followed or was too interested in. So let's say bobsled. Bobsled! Alright, let's make a boat for the next episode. And plonk down the bed, but I do appreciate all those questions with those donations. Of course, the donations are the most important part. Keep going to farlandsbus.com, keep giving. We can, you know, come up with new milestones to occur during the next flobathon and have more fun with that sort of stuff. Oh, I forgot I picked up all these feathers from these zombies. Oh, and I need some food for Wolfie in the next episode. Remind me of that. Indeed. So, until that next episode, thank you very much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.